what some of us are fighting for is to see that this oppressive system is crushed. We don't care whether, I don't even care whether I would be part of the top echelon in the room. I'm not worried, but I'm dying to see a change that, in the system. That's all. That's all.
Taigara mumako Zimbabwe, 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 manya dakabatesa Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe, Taigara mumako Zimbabwe, 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 manya dakabatesa Zimbabwe, vakomana vasikana Zimbabwe, magorila makomo Zimbabwe, manya dakabatesa
We continue to give you eyewitness accounts from men and women who fought the war of the liberation. Where are we? We are still in Manicaland province, and today we have visited Comrade Netsiyanwa, a man who also fought for this country. We are in Toronto, where we said, no, we must come there, sit down, so that you can also share a party of your journey. Comrade, how are you?
Fine.
How is Toronto?
Not too bad. I'm in good form.
Yes, yeah. I can see. And you are looking young.
Yeah.
So, are you from Manicaland or you migrated?
Yeah, Netsiyanwa, John Netsiyanwa. I was born here in Mutare, Saguva District Hospital, and I grew up here in Mutare. I did my education at Chifatsra Primary School. That was I was born 1957.
Okay.
So I did my primary education at Chifatsra School, starting from 1965 up to 1972 to Standard 6. Then from there, my parents, they couldn't afford, money to go for, further education, because we were like 12 in our family, 6 boys and 6 girls, and my father was a pensioner, by the way.
Okay.
So that was a little bit of, hectic. So after that, that was from 1973. As you know, our generation that time, we were allowed to have that ID, which was called juvenile, not
the national ID.
Yeah.
Like the one that
there were
everyone uses.
2 categories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you were a young fella, you could have that, junior, identification ID. Yeah. So that one would allow you to work in certain areas, like as a garden boy. There was only one firm in Mutare which used to employ juveniles. It was called, engineering company, which used to specialize in carpentry.
Okay.
Yes. So I worked there for some time. That was 1973. I worked there, and also I worked with some other guys like Charles. This Charles is also from Manicaland, but he was the driver of our General Tongo when we went to war.
Okay.
That's when I met him. There, he was the driver of General Tongo, but we used to work together at Keystone Joinery Engineering in Mutare.
Okay.
So, during that time, it's like in terms of music, there was no Shona music. It was copyrights, heavy rock, heavy metallic, that sort of thing. I think the only musician who was there was Ngwaruma Pundu. Yeah. So we used to go at Bite Hall or Moffat Hall for what we call Teen Beat. Every weekend during the night we'd go there to play music. And Bite Hall, we used to go there for films. And the type of films which they used to show us was, Western films, cowboys, they were fighting each other, you know, that sort of thing. And it was very exciting. Though we were still under, you know, colonization, but we had a little bit of, you know, freedom at our own as black people. Yeah, in Mutare there, we were not allowed to go uptown. You know Mujiti, place called Mujiti, that was the maximum area for that was the boundary for black people. You were not allowed to go uptown except garden boys, cooks and postmen who were in, you know, uniform. Mikos Park, you know Mikos Park, it was used for you know, the soldiers, white soldiers, when they were going for operation, they were dropped there by their wives at Mikos Park, then they would be picked up with the army truck going for, you know, operations. Then, you know, there is Sakuva Stadium. The first stadium in Mtare, it was Sports Over, because the first location in Mtare was old location. So there is a ground there which is called Sports Over. So we used, as young fellas there, that time we used to see, you know, the army, white, you know, Rhodesian army, they used to march there, you know, showing their skills, whatever, every year. Then, that time, I think that spirit of war was taking place, you know, that password was moving, you know, in people, you know, say, oh, the war, there is war which is being fought, that's why you see these whites, they're going to fight with the, you know, with the guerrillas. So, I was lucky enough that one of the guy whom I used to work with, he was a little bit old man because he was a machine operator at Keystone Joining Engineering. So he used to live in Mozambique. He was a Mozambican actually, because there was no problem there. The train used to move from Tare to Machpanda going to Beira. So you could get a train from Tare going to, you know, to Mozambique. So we made some arrangement with him, and he told me that he can take me to Mozambique, or he will show me how to go about it. So
going to Mozambique to do what? To
join this armed struggle now. Yeah. Because he was well versed about what was happening during that time, you know, with the Frelimo forces. So so we made some arrangement with him, and it was on Friday after work. Then we went together in a train to Machpanda. When we arrived at Machpanda, then he directed me to the Frelimo post where the soldiers were.
Were you alone or with?
We were two. There was a guy who came from Murewa. His name, I remember his Chimrenga name was, but I know Chimrenga name, and his name was Fanuel Musiwa. Chimrenga name was Tibbs Maoko. He is now late. He used to work in the president's office during Mugabe era, but he is now late now. So we were two. We went to the Frelimo post, and they interviewed us. Hey, you guys, why did you come here? And you know, we told them that we've come to join the armed struggle.
Which year was that?
And that was 1975. End of the beginning of June. And they said, are you serious? And we said, yeah, we are serious. So they kept us there for a day. The following day, I think we were up to 15 Zimbabweans. So they took us to a place called Nyadzonya. You know, to our surprise, on our way going, they you know, in Mozambique, they speak Shona from Machpanda there up to Beira. They speak Shona. So what surprised us, they were singing songs like Imam Zorewa Nawasitore Ona Ondo Huria Uya Ziwa Zekuita. Because when we went, most of the people from Manicaland, when we went to the armed struggle, we were recruited by, you know, it was most of the Methodist people who were going to Methodist church, and also the secondary schools here. Because I remember our parents, like on Sunday service, they used to pray for our country, say we need our country. You know, God bless us, we need our country.
Yeah.
There was that political, you know, mindset within the churches.
Yeah.
So when we arrived at Netsiyanwa, you could see that the situation has changed now. Yeah, you could see that the situation has changed. It was right in the middle of the bush, deep in the bush. So on my arrival, when we arrived there, you know, we were taken to a security post because they would, that was the protocol. You have to be taken under security for a week or 2 weeks, whereby they will be interviewing you physically or also observing, you know, your movements, how you know, your personality, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But to my surprise, I met one of my mzukuru, Pardon Chimonyo. He is my mzukuru there. He said, "Oh, Sekuru, you have come here." Got, yeah, and that was okay because he was a commander at Netsiyanwa, but though he was not yet trained, but he was a commander.
Okay.
And he was very active, he was very clever, you know. So at Netsiyanwa, we were about so many companies, from A company up to Z company. Okay. Each company had about 100 people. And the daily activities there was to, you could build a barrack, what we call a barrack, within a day.
Okay.
You know, the other platoon could be sent to go and get, you know, wood, mapot. The other platoon would go and cut grasses to, you know, to roof the, and that barrack will be finished within a day's time, you know. And during the day also, some other programs, we used to go for political orientation, to be oriented why we are fighting this war, you know, that sort of thing. So the situation was very difficult. There was nothing like tea, nothing like meat. Our last day to have tea and meat, that's the last day we left Zimbabwe. Okay. So there was only one meal, mostly a day. And our major meal was just rice, maybe sadza and beans. And you could start receiving food. You can imagine where there are companies which are from A up to Z.
Yeah.
You could start receiving food like maybe 12 o'clock up to 6 o'clock. People, they are still on the queue. Okay. Yeah, to receive food. And some other time you could spend the whole day without eating anything, or 2 days without, because food was a problem. And you could also survive. You could go into the bush. There are certain, you know, roots we used to eat even if we were here. I think we used to call them hodo. They have, they can produce, when they are ripe, they can produce a yellow flower of some sort. Okay. So they have a root. We used to survive on that one. Others who were brave enough, they could go into to mingle around with the Mozambican people to do what we call chirenje. They could exchange a shirt with a chicken or a trousers with a chicken or whatever they are given. But once you are caught, you will be in for it. Okay. But the only way they could discover that some other people are not here around, the commander, and I remember the commander there was Saudi, the one who was trained, it was Evaristo and Charles, we used to call him Saudi. Then we had some commanders who were not yet trained, like what I told you, Pardon Chimonyo, Kekistone, and the Granger, you know, they were the commanders, but they were not trained. So they could blow a whistle. Once a whistle is blown, everyone has to go to the parade with immediate effect. And you have to line up commanders, they will start checking numbers. know, we have section commanders, platoon commanders, command commander. Then they will report to the, you know, detachment commander. They will report to the overall commander. That's when they would discover that certain people are not around. And they will take note of that one. And once we are caught, you will be disciplined at a parade. You could have, like, you know, beaten up to 50 beats or 60. Yeah, it was sort of, you know, to demonstrate that if the next person did this, this is what you are going to have, you know. So that was, the situation was very difficult, to be honest with you. And the food was not enough. I remember there is a word which we used to call bijou. Bijou is to try and get another share. You try and get into the queue, but once you are caught, you are in for it. So that was all. That was the daily activities at Netsiyanwa. And there were Evaristo, Comrade Evaristo, a trained personnel. He was a political commissar. So he could, every morning he could be in a position to give you some news that, oh, our comrades have attacked such place in Zimbabwe. Then we could clap hands, you know, that sort of thing, just to boost our morale. So myself, I was in Company W, and my commander, he was not yet trained, but my commander, he was Kila Matamisa. He is from Honde Valley, but he passed away. He's now late. Then it was a surprise. It was only Wednesday morning. We were surprised to see trucks coming in. The Frelimo trucks with it was a convoy. And within some minutes, you know, a parade was called in, a whistle was blown to attend, you know, to the parade. We attended there, and it was, we were told that we have come to pick some of you here to go for training to Mugagao. So it was Comrade Nongo and Comrade Mpunzarima. So they picked, like, I could say, they were choosing people who were like a little bit physically fit there, just to say you, fall in there, then you make a queue there. Then from there, we were picked up from Netsiyanwa. We went to Beira in a convoy of trucks. We went to Beira. We were 750 comrades who were picked from Netsiyanwa. As you know, that Netsiyanwa, I think we had an estimated population of comrades around 3,500 there, including Watoto, young fellas. There, Watoto, that it means, you know, young fellas and young women. So we were 750. We arrived at Beira port because, as you know, that organization of African Union, long time it was called Organization of African Union, not the current one, AU. That's another name. But that time it was Organization of African Unit. So there was a ship waiting for us there.
Okay.
That ship, its name was called Mapinduzi. Mapinduzi, it means a revolution. But mostly it was funded by, you know, countries like Nigeria and Tanzania, because they were the major sponsors of the Organization of African Unity. So we boarded that ship, the 750 of us, but the actual number which was needed, we exceeded the number by 50. So there was a need to minus 50 comrades from them. And that was very difficult, because to remove, like I told you, that in Netsiyanwa it was not easy. It was a very difficult place. Sometimes you could sit under the tree, you know, thinking about back home, what you used to eat or what you used to do, which you no longer are having at that time. So, you know what they did? we spent the whole day in that ship without eating anything up to 4 p.m. So everyone was very hungry, at that time. So you know what they did? They reversed the Mercedes-Benz, a truck at the entrance of the ship. So Comrade Nongo was on the left side of the door. Mbunzarima was on the other side of the door. So they said, is there anyone who is not feeling well so that we can take you to the hospital, and after treatment we will bring you back? That's the tactic which they used. So people were flowing and they were just counting. And they said, stop. Because 50 comrades have already been removed from the ship. The moment that truck takes off, the ship started sailing off. And those guys, I understand they were taken back to Tete, which was also a very, very difficult, place to live, because it was just the same situation. So we sailed along the Indian Ocean, going to Tanzania. So I think it took us 2 days, and it was a very exciting journey for us, because it was my first time to get to travel into a ship, that sort of. You could see dolphins flying, jumping in the sea, and you could see a lot of other ships, but you could tell that that ship is from that country because they have flags. So, but the problem there was malaria. There is a lot of mosquito in the sea. It was horrible, to be honest with you. And I remember one of our colleagues passed away because of malaria. So when we arrived at Mugagao, it was like another different place as well. So when we arrived at Mugagao, we were welcomed by officers. Some of them, they are still alive, like VIP Chwenga, Comrade Tondrai, Zingai, Basten Beta. A lot of them, they are still alive here. And we were also allocated into companies, different companies. It was Takawira, Dubula, Vulinchela. I think we were about 6 companies, Monomotapa. So we started our training there at Mugagao. Mugagao, it is a very cold place, to be honest with you. Very cold. All day long. It is a very cold place. So that was the story. So we started our training, and our food was just rice and beans. Though the situation was a little bit different in terms of logistics, we were well looked after, but still there was nothing like tea. But we were able to have 2 meals, lunch and supper. That was the good part of it. So, like I told you, that Mugagao, it is a very cold place. We used to go and make our fire to just to warm ourselves, like to small huts built up of thatched small house which can accommodate 5 to 6 people. We used to go there in groups, that sort of thing. We used to go there in groups and have to warm ourselves, because it was very cold. But any time during that training, they could blow a whistle as well, whereby you are expected to attend, and they take the numbers. So the training was going on, and we were being trained by the Chinese. We had the Chinese instructors plus our own instructors, the likes of Comrade Chwenga, Comrade Tondra, and Comrade Basten, Comrade Chibage, So We were being trained by the Chinese. The Chinese, they used to stay like a kilometer away from us. They used to have their own accommodation on that side. But so during that time, there was another camp in Morogoro. The one I'm talking about is Mugagao. There is another camp which was also training ex-combatant, guerrilla fighters. That was Morogoro. But Morogoro, it was occupied by ZIPRA. As you know, that Zimbabwe, we had 3 armies which were fighting to liberate this country. There was ZANLA, ourselves. Then there was ZIPRA. Then there was Froliz. Froliz, the leader was Shikerema. ZAPU was Ngomo. ZANLA, initially it was Tole, and Mugabe took over. Yeah. So we had those 3 armies. But Froliz, they were just very few. There were not too many. Yeah. They were just very few. So what happened at Morogoro, we had 300 comrades who went to Morogoro from Mozambique before us. So we heard that they were attacked by the ZIPRA during their training. But you see, the good part of ZANLA forces, wherever we were in Mozambique, we were being trained the tactics on how to survive if you are attacked by the enemy. Though we were not being trained the weapon, but tactics. So what happened? So those tactics helped those comrades at Morogoro, because they were, when the ZIPRA forces were shooting, they managed to crawl underneath, and the bullets were going like on top, you know. So they were crawling till they get out of the radius, which was very dangerous. The only people who were shot there, but there was no death, but the only people who were shot were the officers, because the officers were still sleeping in their tent. They were reluctant in their tent. It was just a surprise attack.
From the ZIPRA?
Yeah, from the ZIPRA
forces.
Yeah, from the ZIPRA forces. So, emergency whistle was blown at Mugagao, and our camp commander was Tizwe Goronga. He briefed us about the situation, that this is what has happened in Morogoro. And we were surprised to say, what's going on? And at that time, myself, I was still very young. Most of us, we were 19 years, 17 years, 20 years. We were very young. So after that, we continue with our training. Then, it was only a Sunday, we were surprised to see convoys of trucks, military trucks, ZIPRA forces coming to join us. They were well trained from Russia. I think they were around 250, if I'm not mistaken. They were well trained from Soviet Union. And they were well dressed in uniform with new gum shoes, everything. Full soldier kit. What was missing there was just guns. But the officers, they had pistols. So I was lucky enough to be one of the guys selected by our military officer. I was selected by the late Brigadier Edwin Mnyaradzi. He was the first brigadier to be buried at the Hiroseka. Yeah. His surname was Chitekeza. That's the home name, Chitekeza. But Chimrenga name, he was Edwin Mnyaradzi. So we were selected to be part of the security, because as you know that as a soldier, when you are joining when you are coming to another camp, you have to be searched. That's the protocol. You have to be searched. So these ZIPRA forces, the officers, they were trying to resist, to say, you can't do that, you can't search us. They were, it was like they were almost wanted to fight each other. It was chaotic. And our guys, Goronga, he was a brave man with parents, Shiri, they were there. And they said, no, you just have to be abided by this protocol. So during the search, what we discovered there, they had pockets of bullets, ammunition. They had pockets of poison. If you know the poison, you know rukweza, it looks like rukweza, but if you dip it into the water, it will become purple.
Okay.
Yeah. Those who know about poison, I think right now it was banned, but it used to be used here in Zimbabwe. So we managed to take some of those things, but some of them, they managed to invade because it was just a survival of the fittest. They were pushing in and so forth. Then the officers, their guns, they were registered, the number of the pistol, then registered according to the names of the... So after that, they were, like I told you, that they were trained already. What their activity was just to show the karate exercise in the morning. They could see Z, 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 and doing karate, you know, a ZIPRA, you know. So when it comes to the meals, we were the first people to eat because we were under, you know, a program, training program. So they also claim that they want to cook in the kitchen, you see. But the idea was to use that poison to poison us. So they were allowed to cook into the kitchen.
But were they not also eating from the same pot?
The fact that they were the last people to eat. So the first batch of the prepared food is for the 700 ZANLA forces. For them to have their food, it will be prepared after this first batch.
Was it by design, by coincidence? Why not just mix everyone? Okay, it's now time to eat. Isn't it that you were served in queues? And everyone would just join the queue and...
Yeah, like I told you that 700, you can imagine serving 700 people.
Yes, but you said they were the last ones to be served.
Yeah.
So I am saying, was it by an arrangement that these guys from ZIPRA should be served last?
Yeah, because they had no program to do. They were just seated, like I told you, that they were well trained from Soviet Union.
Okay.
They were supposed to go home and fight the war, but they were just seated there. I don't know what was their mission, actually. The whole situation was very confusing. So they cooked rice and beans and they put that poison in. So the way we used to receive our meals, there was a big table like this. So they could arrange the place 5-5 on top of each other, 5-5. So that when you are queuing, they will just give you a plate and you move around. The first section, when they arrived to get the meal, the whole table started shaking as if there was earthquake. And everything was dropping down. All the plates were dropping down. Yeah. And we told them that, you know what, we have put poison. The war we are fighting the war which was started by Netsiyanwa. And we don't die here. We die in the battlefield. As you know that if there is any comrade who could tell you that we defeated the enemy because we were very clever, that's not it. The war we were fighting was being led by the supernatural powers from Netsiyanwa. I will explain on this later on as well. So that food was taken to the Lasaram, to the laboratory, and it was confirmed food poisoners. So what we did, we had our own farm again in Tanzania. whereby our elders who were no longer, who joined the struggle long time ago, like 1972, whatever, they were old enough that they cannot even go and fight the war because of the age. So we used to call them wazee, means an old man. So they used to stay at the farm, you know, growing maize and whatever. So they were told that, oh, this is the situation. Can you prepare 6 drums of maize? So they cooked cobs. No, the cobs.
Okay.
Because in Tanzania in June and July you'll be eating, you know, green maize. So we went there by, you know, running toy as part of exercise. It was just like 5 kilometers away from Mugagao. We get there, we were given one cob each for that day. You can imagine. That was
So what happened to the people that were cooking the food when it was discovered that it was poisonous?
Their commanders were told. Their commander, his name was called Sam. Sam, his character, he looks like a cowboy. You know, if you remember the films, there was Bud Dispenser, the films I told you we used to watch. There was, if you do your research, there was Bud Dispenser and there was one which was called Trinity. It can be done, amigo, that sort of thing. He was sort of a cowboy. And they were told that this is the situation, you see. So you are not going to cook again, they were told, and that was the end. Then after a week, the tension was just, you know, growing on time and again, you know, very fast. So on a Sunday, again, Comrade Goronga blew an emergency whistle. He told us at a parade that, comrades, the situation here has changed. The ZIPRA forces, they want to fight us.
So if the whistle was blown, it means the ZANLA forces were the only ones that would go.
Yeah, we were 2 armies sharing the same, you know, place. They had their own barracks and we had our own barracks, and they had their own protocol. Yeah. Their soldiers, they could not listen to our commanders. Ourselves, we could not listen, and there was no communication.
Okay.
So, like I told you, that we used to go and, you know, in those to make fire to warm up ourselves. So we used to interact with the ZIPRA forces there. I don't know about the officers, whether they used to interact, I'm not very sure. But ourselves, we used to interact. And I remember some of them to say, Abafana is Simblenga, Abafana is Colin. You think you can rule Zimbabwe? Abafana is Simblenga. And they said, you fight Zimbabwe, and when you fight, we will take it from you. And I remember saying to one of them, my friend, I think you are joking. You don't know what you are talking about. You can imagine, once we had the Air Force, all the artillery and everything, tanks and everything, and you think you can take it from us. You must be joking. We used to, and I thought it was a joke, not knowing they were serious, me. So it happened that on a Sunday, then Comrade Goronga blew an emergency whistle. He informed us that, my comrades, this is the situation. These people, they want to fight us. And you could tell they were lined up, they were lining up there, and they were just saying, Z, 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 doing some slogan and showing their karat, you know, because they were big people, very tall, you know. I think we had a different age group, difference of like 10 to 12 years with us, because they were calling us Abafana is calling. And because we were very young, like myself, I was just 19 years at that time. So, Comrade Tiswe Goronga told us that this is the situation. But the good advantage of us is like, we were the first people to be at Mugagao. So there was an armory there, which was looked after by the Tanzanian Defensive Forces, TDF, yeah. and it was locked. The keys was managed by the Tanzanian Defensive Forces. Their task was only to come and open the armory and count the guns which were going to be used for training during the day. It was anti-air machine guns, LMG, light weapons. Then there was another armory for demolition. That one, they didn't bother much about it. It was on the other side. It has, you know, landmines, grenades, you know. So what we did, our officers, they had pistols, both sides, ZIPRA and ZANLA. Yeah. So what we did a password to say, go. We went to get those grenades to that armory, and we put them here underneath our, like this, and then we joined our own queue as well, because they were standing there. It was just 10 meters apart. And the situation was changing very fast, and Comrade Goronga said, once I fired my pistol, then, but the first person to start that war was the ZIPRA commander. His name was called Sam. I would love to talk to some of them, because I think some of them, they are still alive, to be honest with you. People have to come out and tell this to Zimbabwe, to tell what really happened. So Sam, he raised up the Zimbabwean flag, and he said, he was the first man, he said, advance and kill to the last man. And we were just 10 meters apart. He fired his pistol, and Comrade Goronga fired his pistol in response. Then we started throwing grenades. You can imagine, grenades can be very destructive when you are 10 meters apart. That's the favorable place of it. And I could heard some of them, retreat my daughter, let my bomb. Yeah. It was midday. And some of our officers, they went to the armory. You know, a pick, the pick, that thing, it is very strong. They just hit on the key and it was open. And they started throwing guns, because most of the guns there, they were fully loaded, the submachine guns. And the bad part of it, that place, it was like a football ground. It was very clear. There was a river at the end. So we started shooting them, killing them. And that was my first time to see a person dying with a gun. That when you are shot like this, you don't feel there and there. You just stand like this, then.
So was it your first time to see a man dying from gunshots, or what is your first time to
physically
kill a man
physically?
You?
Maybe my grenade. I didn't have a gun, but I had a grenade. I threw a grenade.
Okay.
You see, the guns were sort of limited to a few people. Yeah, because not every one of us had, you know, the gun. So they died there, to be honest with you.
Oh, is it they died or you killed them?
We,
not
me. We killed them.
Yeah.
We killed them there, to be honest with you. We killed them. The disadvantage is that there was a plain ground, so there was no way they could take cover. They only managed to take cover when they managed to get into the river. There was a river there, but there was no water. It was just like a depression.
Which year was that?
1976.
Okay.
And the news were out by the Reuters news. You know, the Reuters news, they report anywhere. They will be anywhere. So it was reported here. If you can check with other people, it was reported even here that worldwide, that ZANLA and ZIPRA, they had crashed at Mugagao. That was 1976. So I was one of the victims, though I was not shot.
No, you are not.
We were
the victims are the ones you killed.
Yeah, because we were protected by Mbuyanehanda. Like I told you that it was. So after that battle, it's the whole day. In Tanzania, they have a reaction force which they call Fanyafujo. But they didn't come, they only came to attend that scene after 72 hours. So what happened? Like I told you that some of the comrades who used to go into the masses to get things like chicken, whatever, in exchange with food or mbanje, some of them, they used to go and get mbanje and exchange with clothes in Tanzania. And once they were caught, they were punished by digging like a pit, 15 feet deep, whatever. So what we did to try and
hide the
evidence of the incidents, of the killings. Those who died, we put them into those pits there and there, straight there and there, and covered it. And we put a volleyball net. We used to have a volleyball net at Mugagao. And we put a volleyball net there and we started playing volleyball there to cover the evidence.
How many did you bury there?
I don't still remember.
Okay.
Once, if what we are looking for or what we said to the leadership of Zimbabwe, the president and all the leadership, we told that our comrades, those who died in foreign countries, they have to be brought home. No hunwedu, no tsika yedu as Zimbabweans. Both ZIPRAs, those ZIPRAs who were buried at Mugagao, those people who were buried in Zambia, Nyadzonya, Chimoyo, Doroi, they have to be buried back home. Because during the war, we used to tell them that, comrades, you are dead, you are far, but we'll come and take you home when we are independent. And they knew that there is no way we are going to liberate our country, as it was stated by the ancestors, people like Neanda. We knew that. What we didn't know is that how long is it going to take us to liberate our country. But we know that we were going to defeat the enemy. So that has to be done. I'll come back to this one. Let me finish up with the Mugagao. That's, to me, that's when the civil war started between ZANLA and ZIPRA. Because we could have some questions to say, the guy who commanded it, who started it at Morogoro, I don't know who started it at Morogoro, but I know who started it at Mugagao. His name was Sam. You see, so there is no way Sam, a junior commander to Jason Moyo and Dumiso Dabengwa or Lookout Masuku, could start a war without instructions from somewhere. You see, that has to be answered. If those people are still alive, you remember I sent you that the one which I wanted to have an interview with Dabengwa and he refused when he was still alive. I sent you on your, you can check it. It was there in the Daily News from John Netsiyanwa. The start of, what started Gukura Honde. So that's when the civil war started there. I will explain more. Then after that, the Tanzanian forces, they came after 72 hours to find out what was taking place. And by then we were quiet because the battle was over. And we have covered all the evidence. So what they did, they arrested all our officers, some of our military officers. They were taken to Dar es Salaam. In Tanzania, there is a prison in the sea. There is a prison. They were taken there for some time. So that's when Nyerere called in Mugabe, Ngomo, and others. They had a meeting to say, you people, if you are serious, go and fight in Zimbabwe. That's when the ZIPRA was very effective that time. Now, when it comes to operation in the battlefield here in Zimbabwe, ZANLA had operated huge areas.
After the Mkagao,
Yeah,
and after your training from there, where were you deployed?
yeah. After my training, okay, after that, like that's when the ZIPRA was formed. And it was Josiah Tongogara, Jason Moyo. Their deputies was Rex Nongo and Nikita Mangena. So after my training, I was selected amongst the 700. We were selected, I think we were just 40. We were selected to be a military instructor. So we were trained, we went to be trained by the Chinese, not in China, but in Tanzania. We were trained by the Tanzania and, no, we were trained by the Chinese and our officers. So after our military training as military instructors, we were deployed in Tanzania, in Netsiyanwa. Netsiyanwa, we were going to train about 5,000 ZANLA forces who were coming from Mozambique, in all the places they were picked up from Mozambique. They were 5,000, and that group was called Songambeli. And that time I was still very young, but you see, the good part of me, I was very good in. I think the reason why I was selected to become a military instructor is that at the shooting range, I was #1 in shooting, the bull target, throwing grenades, everything, and I was very good at marathon.
Okay.
Yeah, running, long distance. So we went to train our comrades in Netsiyanwa there. We trained them. It was only ZANLA forces. There were no ZIPRA there. So during our training, what happened again? We were surprised again to see a convoy of just 4 trucks. And a meeting was called by our senior officers, and at that time our military attaché. No, there was. It was only the Tanzanian who came with that convoy, and they briefed our officers that we have come to pick you up because you are needed in Maputo by your superiors. So we were surprised by the means of communication. We don't communicate through the Tanzanians. We communicate through our military attaché, which was Comrade Kumalo. I think he's still alive, Comrade Kumalo. Okay. Yeah. So we informed our comrades that this is the situation. So you guys remain as ZANLA forces. You know who you are. Because they were now being trained by the Tanzanian forces only, by the Tanzanian instructors only. So on our way, as we thought we were going to Maputo, but we have to go through the airport and so forth. So the Netsiyanwa is in a region called Mutwala. So along the way, when we were going to Mutwala from the Netsiyanwa Kembi was a former Kembi which was being used by Frelimo. And some of our comrades were trained there a long time back. So on our way, we were surprised to see, myself, I was in the truck which was in front. There were 4 trucks. We were surprised to see, Gawa, what do we call it in English? Gawa. Fox, yeah. Fox rakamira in front of the road, right at the middle of the road like this. Not even being scared by the trucks, and the trucks had to stop. That's when we discovered that things are not well here. Atimaona midzimu kushanda kwatanga kuita, because midzimu yedu muhonda yaishanda nemhuka nenyoka nemakudo everything. But at no kwetiri kuenda kusi right. Varabva. Then we proceed. We were surprised that we were being taken to a prison, only to be received by, you know, huge number of policemen with no carriers to beat you, you know, motorbikes, and it was just orders. We were just following orders. Say, yeah, get down, go in there. There were still gates like that one. 3 of them at the main gate. 2 get right inside.
Okay.
And we said, why? They said, you have to go in here. And we were addressed, we were a total of 65 military officers. We were addressed by, you know, one of the prison officers. They said the provincial, political commissar of that region, he came to address us. He said to us, we are going to keep you here as detainees. You are no longer wanted by your parents. You are no longer wanted by your part. You know what happened there? You could feel blood flowing everywhere. And we started fighting him, throwing out those chains and, you know, those. And he called in a reinforcement of police. I think they were over like 100. And we were thrown into the cells like, you know, you are throwing a bag. Yeah. So we were locked in, 16 in each cell. And there was a toilet there. And you start sleeping from where the toilet is, going around that way. The light which was there, it was like a torch light. You couldn't stand it. And we were just, you know, exhausted. We didn't know what was happening now. And there was totally breakdown with the leadership. There was no communication. So we stayed there for 3 weeks, and we started, you know, doing hunger strike. We started refusing food. Our food was only, you could have food, it was only porridge in the morning at 8 o'clock. Or if not porridge, it was sadza with nyimo dzakaora. And you were being served in a bin, those black bins which you use for rubbish. Yeah. And you could be asked to come out, you line up, you receive that food, they count you. At the end of the day, you are told to come out, they count you, the number, and you go back into the cell. No blankets, no what.
But why were you arrested?
We didn't know.
Okay.
But I will let you know,
okay,
as we go along.
All right.
So one of our officers, Justice Kuramba, you know what we did? He wrote a letter, because the good part of it, we managed to go in with our books, whatever we use for training. So he wrote a letter. The guards who used to guard us there, you know, a prison, it has got 4 points, corners, right at the top. So they knew that what is happening here is wrong. It's not recommended by the government. So we used one of them to take out that letter, and he posted it to the military attaché, who was Comrade Kumalo. So when he opened it, that's when he discovered that comrades are in jail. So he get in touch. I think he managed to, they had a meeting, and Comrade Nongo came to rescue us there. He came to take us from that prison. And we were crying, seeing, you know, we were crying. It was horrible. And he gave us some money to say it along the way, those who drink and buy beer, whatever, because it was the first time to have freedom after a month in prison.
They came and said we are releasing you.
Yeah, he's the one who came and, you know, released us, Comrade Nongo, because that was not allowed by the Tanzanian government. And those responsible authorities of that province, they were arrested. But what we had, I'm not very sure, but what we had, the strategy was, you know, in terms of recruits going to join the Liberation War, ZANLA forces had so many recruits. ZIPRA forces, they were no longer getting recruits. So the number of their army was limited. So the idea from what we heard was they wanted to take those comrades from Netsiyanwa and take them to Zambia by force. So that's what we had.
So,
but
okay, are you saying the ZIPRA came to Mugagao to take the ZANLA forces by force?
No. I'm talking about Chingwea.
Oh, okay.
The Mugagao thing, we had a battle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mean the 65 military instructors that were arrested?
We were arrested. We were 65. We were the ones responsible in training that 5,000 ZANLA forces with the Tanzanian forces instructors. It was a combined effort. We were training them together.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's how we were removed from that, going to the jail and so forth. So that's what happened. That's what we had, because ZIPRA forces, they were not having any more recruits. Their numbers was very limited by that time. So anyway, we went to Mugagao to, you know, refresh, back to Mugagao where I trained, to refresh ourselves. And we had a meeting with Comrade Nongo and so forth. And we were redeployed again from Mugagao. Some of us went to the front, different missions. Myself and the other guys, I think we were 15. We went to train comrades again in Mozambique after Chimoyo attack. We went to Takawira. We went to Mozambique with a private jet. I think we were only 15 in that jet. And when we arrived at Beira airport, we were received by Comrade Nongo and Comrade Edzain Chimonyo, the late commander of the Zimbabwe National Army. He's now late. And Edzain Chimonyo with me, we are related. And that was our first time again to meet. He said, Mfana, okay, that's fine. So we were deployed in Mozambique to train comrades again at Takawira. That's when I met Comrade, this one Rugejo, even this one, the one who has been assigned to be Army Commander, Tafumane. We worked together there in Takawira, training comrades there. And by that time, the situation was very tense with the enemy. The enemy was almost everywhere with the helicopters searching for us. We were being harassed every time, because it was after Chimoyo attack. So it was horrible. There was no place to hide. Everywhere they were moving. I remember the other time we had to, because we used to have, the other time our camp was burned into ashes. And we had 300 comrades and the helicopters were coming. But before they come, like I told you that every attack which they do, even a Chimoyo attack, Mudzimu wakataura Mudzimu came out and told them, even if you ask Bethune, who was the camp commander there, when the jet fighters were still being loaded in Gweru, like today, and the attack was tomorrow, but Mudzimu told Kuti, Murukuya kwa attack. You're going to be attacked here tomorrow. So, like I said, it was very difficult. We were kept on the run. So we had rice. What we did with our rice, we took those, I think there were 15 bags of rice. We went to the river, Panevrakawanda. We hid those bags into the river. There was no water there, but it was just sand. There was plenty of sand, like Sabi, who has got no water. So we have to dig and we hide those because the whole area, the whole bush was being burned. I remember commanding comrades because in Mozambique, they have thick forests. I could tell every comrade, my commander, to say, Mira Nemuti, stay with that tree wherever you are, don't move. And you could see animals running and being shot by choppers. Yeah, and they could say, where is Tongogara? We are looking for Tongogara. Where is Tongogara? The situation was tense there. And it was very difficult. So Comrade Nongo and Comrade Mpunzarima, they were busy with all the military attaches to make sure that comrades are being taken outside, either to go to Yugoslavia, Romania, and Ethiopia, all the countries which were helping us to train comrades. They were sent there because in Mozambique it was now a no-go area. It was horrible.
Okay.
Yeah. The enemy had the upper hand to track everywhere. So I went to Ethiopia with the recruits. I think we were like 15 officers. I remember some of them, Madson, Alice Cooper, Andy Pamwe. We went to Ethiopia. We were the first, we were a group of 1,000 ZANLA forces at Addis Ababa. Our camp was called Tatek Camp, Tatek Military Camp. So we trained there. We were trained by the Ethiopians. Language was very difficult, but we managed to. Yeah. So that time I was doing medicine into the medical field. That's where my unit was. We were about 15 of us. People were grouped. Some were doing communication engineering, pilots. We were grouped into so many areas. Some were doing heavy machine gun, engineering, artillery, and reconnaissance, tank drivers, whatever, because we were being trained as a regular force. ZANLA forces was doing their training as we started with guerrilla warfare. And when the war develops, that's when we started training regular warfare according to the stages of the war. Whereas on the other side, ZIPRA, they were only training on regular warfare. They never trained guerrilla warfare because they specialized in conventional warfare. That's why they were telling us that when you liberate Zimbabwe, we will fight you, we will take it from you. Then we did our training there in Ethiopia, and we went to do our combination in Ogaden Desert. To do the combination as a regular warfare. And our commander was one of the guys called Sifas. He was the one who was, So on our graduation day, we were addressed by General Tongo.
Okay.
What some of us are fighting for is to see that this oppressive system is crushed. We don't care whether, I don't even care whether I would be part of the top echelon in the room. I'm not worried, but I'm dying to see a change that in the system. That's all.
taigara mumakomo mumakomo yewondo aiwa taimanya manya takabatesa Zimbabwe taigara mumakomo mumakomo yewondo aiwa taimanya manya takabatesa Zimbabwe vakomana vasikana Zimbabwe magorila mumakomo aiwa taimanya manya takabatesa